Welcome. You're just seconds away from the Brian Brawdy Show, where listener participation is strongly encouraged. Well, unless, of course, you're easily triggered, then listener discretion is strongly advised. And if you fall into the latter camp, why don't you just mortal up already?
You're listening to the Brian Brawdy Show here on RadioBri.com. Unfettered, unfiltered, unafraid.
And welcome to episode 546 of the Brian Brawdy Show. Thou art that, or as I like to call it, as you know by now, the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're taking us in on YouTube or here on Facebook, thank you so very much. And of course, what is it called? iCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify. If you're pulling us down there, thank you very, very much. Wayne will open the phone lines here in a minute after he gets kind of his sea legs, after we get everything up and going. We'll open the phone lines here in just a bit, and then we'll hop right in to Immortal Up. But as I said, greatest time, hands down in the history of the world to be alive, because if you're vertical, it's still a good gig. Wayne, what do you say? You want to open the phone lines right off the top?
We sure can.
All right, let's do it.
The phone lines are open. Now's your chance to mortal up and give Brian a shout, because your opinion deserves to be heard. Dial toll-free 1-833-MORTAL-1. That's 833-MORTAL-1.
Mortal 1, thank you, Bill, very much. Give us a holler. It's toll-free. You can also text us, 833-667-8251. 833-667-8251. And, of course, you can email me directly here into Studio South, as we like to call it, here in the grandstand of, oh, how I'm out of here. You can email me directly, brian@radiobri.com. Glad to have you along. All right, we're going to hop right into the Mortal Up Minute today, because normally I'd like to open with a bit of a story, but they're kind of all intertwined today. I saw a little something this morning that, you know me, 5 o'clock, I'm up and out roaming the streets. Well, I saw a little something this morning that kind of caught my eye, and I'm looking forward to sharing it to you. So, Wayne, why don't we run to the Mortal Up Minute, and that'll kind of set us up for the opening, the opening salvo in our little midday soiree. Concerned about cybersecurity? Most of us are. You do what you can to protect your computers from cyber attacks or cyberbullying at the shady hands of clandestine cyber terrorists. Your smartphone and connected utilities, laptop or tablet, of course you want to guard against being hacked, your identity stolen by some nefarious internet actor, infiltrating your most private technologies. Yet when it comes to guarding and protecting our own minds from being hacked, compromised, and derailed by evil outside forces, many turn a blind eye and a deaf ear, way too vulnerable and exposed to criticism and influence. The most extraordinary computer network known to humankind, barely a speed bump on the information superhighway crafting your self-image. Don't be victimized by the cyber crooks trying to crack your cognition and your self-esteem. I'm Brian Brawdy, reminding you to mortal up. And here's the thing about it. We hear about cybersecurity, and I thought to myself as I saw this billboard this morning, everyone's worried about being hacked. Everyone's worried about their accounts being seized, their personalities. They're worried about trolls and Russian bots and all these other things. But we'll let people just get on and ramble. We'll let people defame. We'll let people defile humanity as a whole by suggesting that you're easily triggered, you're timid, you're fragile, you're docile, you're all these other things. And we'll talk about it at length today. When we get into our lowlifes making headlines, we've got one of those Q jousting with journalism. We have one of those return to vendor, just enough to make your head ricochet around the room. So we'll get to all that. But bottom line is everyone's worried about being hacked. Well, how about when they hack or they try to hack our heads? When they try to hack our hearts? When they try to convince us right? When they try to convince you that you're not capable of doing that. So we need to do it for you. Go Greyhound and leave the driving to us, right? Remember the old Greyhound bus commercial? Well, now it's to the point where big business, big government, bureaucratic behemoth, legislative leviathan that I talk about all the time, right? They're going, oh, don't you worry about it. You just go ahead. You go about your day as long as you're locked down, right? You go about your day. You do as I say, not as I do, right? Can't have that happen, or we'd all be going out for restaurants to celebrate birthday parties in chic restaurants in Northern California with contributors to our campaign, right? We'd all be doing that if it wasn't do as I say, not as I do, right? If you grew up with parents that smoke, you know that parents would say, "Don't smoke, don't smoke," and then you'd go, "Yeah, but you were on the front porch smoking. Do as I say, not as I do. Why? Because I'm your parent." Right? Remember those days? Well, politicians go, look, they fell for it when it came time to talk about parents, right? Controlling them. Who's to say they've grown up enough? It's Generation X and Y and Z. And do you ever notice that it's mostly the millennials that are pushing back at a lot of these restrictions, right? Because we grew up with that mashugana. We grew up, do as I say, not as I do. Why? Because I'm your parent, damn it. I'm your mother. Hi, Mom. Of course, she'd need a Ouija board to get a hold of me now, but hi, Mom. Right? I remember my mom saying, "You'll never be too old for me to turn over my knee." I was a cop in New York arresting bad guys and bad girls left and right, and my mom's threatening to spank me if I got out of line. All I'm simply suggesting is maybe that's a whole thing. Maybe this whole generational thing where people have just bought in. I was reading a story with Wayne, and we're doing the pre-show about organized sports. They're all afraid now that a whole generation of people may not be into their craziness, right? Like, really, honestly, who out there cares about what some of these sports stars think? I'm just, I'm just puzzled by the whole thing. But in any event, back to the call that we're talking about.
We
Back
got
to
a
the
caller
call.
coming in.
All right, from Oakview, California. Oh, this would be nice to get someone's opinion from California. Hello, caller. What's on your mind?
Not much. I'm tuning in to you for the first time, and seems like you're talking about the state of affairs in the United States.
I would think, well, the United States, my friend, and possibly countries all over the world. Would you agree, or do you think it's just limited to the United States?
I believe there is a globalist agenda and a great reset trying to establish itself. It seems like it already has established itself. And I follow the Constitution, and I believe the way of America, as goes America, so goes the world. So we're actually fighting for the survival of the world here.
Brother, I couldn't agree with you more. Can you give me your first name just so I know how to say hello?
Yeah, my name is Michael, and I am in California in a completely new age city, and I'm the devil here because I'm more conservative than the nut jobs surrounding me.
I'll tell you, Michael, God love you, because when I saw the call come in and I said, well, this would be interesting. Here's someone that'll be, right? Because you get into that position where you go, California, I love the state. I love the natural beauty of it. It's just fantastic. But from time to time, you'll take a call from California and they're ready to rough you up. But Michael, can I ask a quick question before we get ready to run to the break? Why do you think we're so susceptible? As you say, brother, as goes the United States, so goes the world. Is it true? Is it generational, the way I've said, the way I mentioned earlier? Do you think older folks are just tired of the do as I say, not as I do? But you have a governor that said, don't you dare go out and eat in a restaurant. And then not only does he eat in a restaurant, he's enclosed in that restaurant. And then he comes out and says, oh, no, don't worry. It was out of doors. Do you think, Michael, it's a generational thing? Or do some older folks just go, look, we've been told all of our lives, do as I say, not as I do, and we're just fed up with it? Do you think younger crowds go, well, they can do one thing and tell me to do another. I really don't care. How do you think we've slid into this position, Michael?
We are here now in this situation because the propaganda, the media, and the control programs have been so effective for such a long time that basically we've lost our individuality, and many people are collectivists. They don't even know the definition of the term individuation. And so, you know, if you study some ancient or modern systems theory, many pundits will tell you that it only takes 15 years to lose your history and to lose continuity between in philosophy. And we're really dealing with a lack of individuation, a lack of personal consciousness, a lack of bravery, a lack of the bravery to stand out and to speak your truth. And this is why I support Trump, is because he goes against this great machine. He's not the most brilliant geopolitical strategist, but he's definitely the best hope we have of standing up against globalism, the Great Reset, the COVID-19 pandemic, which is, and the media is complicit, and we're here because most people believe the media. I don't even call it mainstream media anymore. I call it weaponized media, because it's weaponized against the consciousness of the masses. And until the individual realizes that the media is weaponized against you, and you have to realize that, the common man won't be able to take the next step into discernment and into individual sovereignty. And this is what we lack, is individual sovereignty.
I would agree with you, Michael, and I would also say that in that individual sovereignty comes personal responsibility, right? So that everyone says, well, I'll abdicate my sovereignty. I'll surrender my responsibility to chart life the way I see it. We around here, Michael, I don't know if you're new to the show, but we call it mortal up, right? You were put here in the garden of the mortals, as I like to say, the labyrinth of life. And I think if you're correct, and you sound a good bit more well-read on the subject than I am, but if it only takes 15 years to rewrite a history, then for the last decade and a half, people have just forgotten about personal power. People have forgotten, right, how dynamic they truly are if they would just go ahead, square their shoulders with fate, and basically say, regardless of the situation, regardless of the obstacle, here's an opportunity for me to learn. Here's an opportunity for me to stand up to the things that I dislike and bring the counterpunch. Michael, right before we run to the break, what's your last thought? Because I absolutely agree wholeheartedly with what you've said. Is there anything that we can do, or is the 15 years been done? Is it ingrained? Or what do you think, Michael, we could do? What could other listeners do to kind of reroute that 15-year slide, if anything at all, brother?
It's not completely lost as long as open discourse is allowed. It's always been the rebels who have changed history, and it seems like the rebels these days are the people with common sense. So stick to your common sense, be brave, stand up, and don't go along with any narrative that's being pushed upon you by the weaponized media or anybody. You have to develop your own intellect and stand up and act with conscience.
Michael, I can't thank you enough for the call. Please feel free to call back anytime, because I think we all need a healthy dose of that, to act with conscience, to listen to your gut, right? Just don't drink the Kool-Aid. Just don't buy into the propaganda, but to let your gut, when you dovetail your heart and your head, your gut will tell you what's right and what's wrong. I can't thank you enough for the call and for the advice and the rallying cry, if you will, because I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to say goodbye to Michael from California. I think Michael's absolutely right. There is a rallying cry, and it comes from remembering who you are. The 15-year slide that he spoke of, we don't need to buy into that. And I think for me, and it's something that's just been, I'm so glad to get Michael's call and learn his opinion. It's something that's just been beating me up of lately. We'll talk about it after we come back. But I have a responsibility. I have 5 kids. I didn't bring them here to live in a totalitarian state. I didn't bring them here to live in a leftist state. I didn't bring them here to do anything other than mortal up. All right, we're going to run to a quick break. We'll be right back. Wayne? You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show, and thank you for jumping on here at RadioBride.com. All right, we're back again. Thank you to Michael. He's got some very sage advice. Just vote with your gut. Mortal up. Remember what it is that you were put here to do. And Wayne, I've got to tell you, it was beating me up last night about it, as I said, with 5 kids. And we're going to get into it in Low Life's Making Headlines. We're going to get into it with Jousting with Journalists. But I asked for 5 kids to be here. Maybe not ask, but you know what? Combination of their parents asked my 5 kids to be here, to come into this world. And I didn't do it with the thought that they were going to live in some leftist hell. I didn't, to Michael's point, I didn't realize that they were going to get here, and that was going to eventuate a 15-year slide, as he talks about in systems theory, a 15-year slide where, you have the millennials, then Generation X, Y, Z, or MOUSE, whatever the other generations are. But I didn't bring my kids here for them to be subject to tyranny, for them to be subject to anything other than charting their own course, as long as it isn't physically injurious to another person, but charting their own course. And I think Michael was spot on to say that when you weaponize words, right, when everyone's easily triggered, when everyone is offended and outraged, when everyone is marginalized, sticks and stones, I think Michael would agree, sticks and stones might break my bones, but names were never meant to hurt us. And I think he's absolutely right to suggest that as long as we have free speech, we can turn the tables back in our direction. It isn't too late. We can do something about it. Wayne, let's say, to try to get back on track, let's run to, what is it, Low Life's Making Headlines? We can get that in 3. Low Life's Making Headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today. Here we go. Let's put it, a drum roll. Oh, Wayne, I like it. Bette Midler. Oh, that's right. Slams, quote, repulsive, ugly, vindictive Trump for failure to concede and death row executions. All right. Well, here's the thing, Bet, and because people could say to me, oh, why didn't you just stick to being a cop? Why didn't you just stick to this? So I'm not going to say, Bet, why don't you just stick to being, I think she's a singer, right, Wayne? Or an actress?
Singer and actress.
Singer and actress. Why don't you, I'm not going to say that, right? She calls Donald Trump, bashes Democrats as too polite to fascist dictator Donald Trump, which, Wayne, you told me a bit earlier, Feinstein isn't going to get her seat. And speaking of Michael from California, one of his senators out there not going to get her seat because she had the gall. She had the absolute, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, Feinstein,
she had the absolute gall to hug Lindsey Graham, try to bury the hatchet.
She gave up her leadership position.
She gave up her leadership position because of people like this, because of Bette Midler saying, oh, these Democrats are too polite, and this is a blood sport. Hey, Michael, nice to see you. Michael says, first time I have seen your show. Michael, thank you so very much for calling in and let us know what you were thinking. We're talking about Bette Midler. We're talking about people that my mom used to say to me, Wayne, we were talking about my mom a little bit earlier. My mom used to say, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. But Trump just seems, to Michael's point, Trump seems to just be magnetized to draw out the mania, the mashugana of some of these people because he wants to rock the boat. He wants to rock the status quo, right? I saw General Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, the other day, clearly hitting the Mad Dog of late, said that, well, this whole America First thing was wrong. And that, you know what, the first thing he would do if he was President-elect Biden was that he would reverse all of this America First stuff. So here's Mad Dog going, you can't put America first. But to Michael's point, look, so as America goes, so goes the rest of the world. We're the one busy standing up for individual freedoms, individual rights. Sure isn't the European Union. So, Bette Midler, you will receive our Suitable for Framing, Low Life's Making Headlines certificate. You can put it up. Wayne says you're a singer and a actress, so maybe you have a Grammy or an Emmy or whatever else. But look, when you get this thing, you're going to love this Low Life's Making Headline plaque, and we'll make certain to give you some tips as to how you can, rearrange your mantle to have this front and center. All right, Wayne, I'll give it to you over 20 after. You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show. And thank you for hanging out with me here at RadioBride.com. Thank you for hanging out here at RadioBride.com. It is a pleasure to have you with us. We are talking today. Well, we didn't even get much of a chance to talk about it when we said thou art that. We were going to get to that. But now let's bring it full circle here for just a minute. Thou art that, right? Glass of water. There's the running stream. Right? Thou art that. The thing, when it comes to cybersecurity, you're the one responsible. You are a part of that cyber, if you will. So why would you leave your mind open? As Michael said earlier, the weaponized media. Why would you leave the front door wide open to let them in? We talked yesterday about if you go to Antarctica, why would you strip down to just your boxers and let those Arctic winds just blow you around? Why would we do that? You don't want to do that. Thou art that we talk about. You are the one personally responsible for your own security. You are the one, both physically and mentally. All this crazy talk now. Everyone's saying, oh, well, they're coming after your guns. I've never looked, Wayne, I don't know about you. I've never looked at guns as an offensive weapon. I've never looked at collapsible batons. I've never looked at knives. I've never, I got into that fight with the producers from National Geographic when we did the Doomsday Prepper because I wouldn't talk about my weapons because I don't look at weapons as offensive weapons. I look at weapons like retractable claws. I looked at them solely as defensive weapons. And I've said yesterday and countless times in the past, not just here on the show, but countless times, when you can't call on anyone else, can you call on yourself? Because when it comes to personal protection from cyberbullying or bullying in person, thou art that. You are that protection. You are that safety net that you're looking for. And the sooner, as Michael said, it takes 15 years. We tend to forget these things. You were born, as Jen Sincero says, you were born a badass. It's time you recall those natural resources. It's time you recall who you ultimately are, where you ultimately are, what you're ultimately capable of, because the rest of us are counting on you to release those natural resources. All right, Wayne, I know before we get to the bottom of the hour, we have another segment we want to do. Let's crack it up. Distorting the truth instead of reporting the facts? Why, I oughta. Instead, let me just congratulate you. You're today's contestant on Jousting with Journalists. Who do we got? Jousting with Journalists, another drum roll. Oh, I don't know these gentlemen. Let me see. Jason Johnson. Oh, he was the guest host of AM Joyless over on MSNBC. And let me see. Jelani Cobb is a staffer at the New Yorker. Oh, so he must live in the Big Crabapple. I'm guessing. I don't know. He might. You don't know, right? If he works for the New Yorker. So what's going on, Wayne? MSNBC. Panel slams Thanksgiving as colonizer Christmas, links it to cannibalism. And I'm tying this in, Wayne, because I think I saw something else talk about as Michael says, talk about weaponizing the media, right? Or the media weaponizing their point of view to get you to drink the Kool-Aid, right? They're counting on you being perforated. They don't want you to know thou art that. They don't want you to have any sense of personal responsibility. They want to be able to give you your train of thought. They don't want you cultivating your own train of thought. They want to be able to give it to you themselves. So now I saw something where not only is it colonizing Christmas, a Christmas tree is evil and it's wrong and it's this and that and everything else. And I have to tell you, Wayne, I didn't bring my kids here to be told that some of the things I enjoyed growing up are evil. So Jason Johnson, don't know your brother, don't particularly care to meet you, but guest host of AM Joyless over at MSNBC. So now Thanksgiving isn't good, Christmas isn't good. Everything's about colonization. Everything's about white supremacy. Everything's about just undermining our holidays. Everything is about that. Everything. So the people from Canada are probably going, Brian, what the hell's wrong with you? Who cares? Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving up here. Well, okay, great. But we do here. And I didn't ask my 5 kids to come here to have it so that our holidays are being railroaded because some punk gets on AM Joyless over at MSNBC and decides to tell me what he and his guests think about some of our most cherished holidays. I couldn't care less, right, Wayne? As you know, like Marianas Trench less. Go to the deepest hole on the face of our planet. That's how less. Right? You can't get any lower than the lowest point on our planet, except for me. I couldn't care even less than that about your opinion, and that's why you're a member, or you're the winner today, I should say, of Jousting with Journalists. Right? Yeah, I like that. It feels good to me. Is that what it's come to? We're now going to stand by and let people overthrow. So now we can't celebrate Christmas. Are you even allowed to say Christmas anymore? I don't know. Surprised Wayne's not saying, hey, bro, you got to watch the language. Are we even allowed to say Christmas anymore? Are we? So now Thanksgiving is evil. Christmas is evil. Easter's evil. So I have a quick question, Wayne. Speaking of evil and the fact checkers here at Mug Pamphlet, the fact checkers everywhere else, on Twitter and LinkedIn. Oh, MailChimp. Thank God we don't use MailChimp. Are those people, are they going to say, look, you can't talk about the Easter Bunny? That's fake news. Fact checker. We're going to slam that door shut. Can't talk about the Tooth Fairy? Oh, yeah, that's wrong. That's just cannibalism. Can't talk about that. Or the witch burners, the book burners over here at Mug Pamphlet, they going to slam that discussion shut? So now we'll get to the point, oh, you can't talk about Bunter Hyden. And look, just in terms of, look, how gullible are we? Now it's reported this morning, someone texted me. Thank you very much for that. Speaking of text, 833-667-8251. Or you can join as Michael did earlier. You can give us a call here in the studio, 833-MORTAL and the numeral 1. You're also welcome to email me directly, brian@radiobri.com. Please give us a holler. Let us know what you're thinking, because here's the scoop. We're so gullible that we're going to let this happen? Really? We're going to because they have a camera, because they could get their fat ass into a tie and get on TV? Their opinion matters to you and me? Why is that? I'm curious. Let me know. If you think they're the pundits, the political propagandists, the weaponizers of the word over in the media, as Michael helped me to frame, right? They're not doing it for you and me, right? Talk about journalists. The only list they're concerned with is making sure they get people. They think they've got enough people drinking their Kool-Aid to up their numbers on Spitter, right? They want that blue check, and they'll say and do anything they can to get people over there. And I'm just saying, when is it, right? I said last night that that RadioBri.com, it's more retaliation than radio. It's more backlash than broadcasting. Right? But when are we going to stand up and go, you know what? Here's our Liberty's line in the sand. I've had enough of this. And I don't care. It's not about the political philosophy in and of itself. It's like a personal philosophy. It's on you. You were born with the ability to stand up to these crap weasels. And when are you going to retap those natural resources and begin to do just that? This whole devaluing of our holidays is nothing more than an attempt to get you to say, well, oh, you know what? Well, I like Christmas. Well, we can't have Christmas anymore. That's just not going to be any good. Oh, well, I really liked Thanksgiving. Oh, no, don't even say Thanksgiving. It's just, you ought to call it Ode to Cannibals. Maybe, right? Ode to Cannibals. Forget Ode to Joy. Beethoven meant Ode to Cannibals when he was talking about Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure he wasn't talking about Thanksgiving. I don't think we had Thanksgiving yet while he was still around. Oh, don't worry. Well, that's what he meant. I can tell you, I'm clairvoyant. I'm smart, right? The left. I'm the leftist. I'm smarter than you. I can tell you he was thinking it's called Ode to Cannibals. So now we're not even allowed? I think they're doing it because they hope it gets you to second guess. You go, well, I have a great feeling around Christmas time. Oh, you got to second guess yourself. You got to tune in. We'll tell you what you can think. I really like cock splotching. Splotchcocking, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. It's called something. I probably cuss there. Don't even know. Whatever it is, the way you cook a turkey, right? Well, if you enjoy that, they go, oh, no, that's just evil. You can't have that. But you can tune in and around our commercials. We'll tell you what you can think. Yeah, that'll work out great. No, thanks. I don't think I will. But I do think we'll run to the bottom of the hour. Wayne? You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show here at RadioBri.com. And thank you for inviting us into your day. Thank you for inviting us into your day. Absolutely, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. Because look, we know there's all kinds of places you could go. There's all kinds of places. Cock-scotching. Oh, is it cock-scotching? Dave said, well, Dave, speaking about a brother from California, or the West Coast, I should say, cock-splotching. Is that really what it's called? Cock-scotching. Ooh, that sounds like what happens when I drink. Cock-scotching. So I didn't realize. See, now Wayne's going to say all the time, probably, you got to watch what you say. I didn't say cock-scratching. I didn't say that, right? I'm just reading what's here in the feed. It's not my fault. Call David. You've got my phone. You've got my number. Dave, hope everything's going well. I think it's splotch cocking. I don't know. It's a term. Sue told me the term years ago. Hey, you know what? We're coming up on a 1 year.
I hope you're talking about roosters.
What is it?
I said, I hope you're talking about roosters.
No, it's a thing that you do for Thanksgiving. It's a way to cook a turkey where you like split it down the middle or something. Splotch. Okay, I'll look it up while we're doing this. But all right, Wayne. So I know we have a segment, and this one we kind of purposely push towards or past the bottom of the hour because it's just right. It just enrages me to even have to do this. But I said we would, so let's run with it. And then I'm going to look up quickly here. Cock splotching. Go ahead. Let me see. Cock splotching. Return to vendor because some DNA just needs to go back. Uh-oh. All right. So my bad. It is not. It has nothing to do with spots on your private parts. So I apologize. Let me say that from the very beginning. But the proper term, sorry about that. David, thanks. Before I started talking about spots on your private parts, you could have done spatchcocking. It's called spatchcocking, and it's how you cook a chicken or a turkey. And speaking of cooking someone's goose, return to vendor because some DNA just needs to go back. California man fatally stomped on his girlfriend's 3-year-old son. California man was busted for murdering his girlfriend's 3-year-old son after confessing to stomping on the toddler's head. Wayne, where is my chainsaw when I need it?
In your garage.
I'm sorry?
In your garage.
Yeah, I need to carry it with. I need a smaller one, maybe a portable one, right? One that just makes it easier in case you could go, Bri, why would you need a chainsaw for this story? Well, just in case I could get a chance to spatchcock, right? You never can. A turkey could show up this time of year. I'm just going to spatchcock. All other reasons are mine alone. But look, during an intensive investigation, Rodriguez allegedly admitted to losing his temper and repeatedly stomping the little boy's head on the ground. Well, here's the good. You want the good news of this story, Wayne?
Go for it.
I'll never get to him with my chainsaw. He's in the San Bernardino West Valley Detention Center, and he won't last a month because here's what I do know.
Now, before you go on,
all right,
you got to remember, he's in a detention center in California.
That's what I have a new. Listen to me. I am so excited about Michael's call. I really am. And he says, nature loves courage. Yes, it does, Michael, because, right, that's what progressive adaptation is all about. I'm so excited to have Michael's call. We don't paint with a broad brush here. We just can't write off all of California because there's some cool people that live there. So, yes, I know that it's in San Bernardino, but I can tell you from my years in law enforcement experience and just hanging out, didn't Jeffrey Dahmer, forget about Jeffrey Dahmer. I think he slipped and fell 27 times and eventually died in prison. But inmates don't take kindly to little kids, 3-year-old kids, having their heads stomped into the ground. I will never get to, although, right, I could wish, a guy can still wish, right? As Michael says, responsibility means the ability to respond. Michael, I absolutely agree. All I'm simply saying is, though I may never get to this guy, Christmas wish, I could still have it. You stomp you big Wayne, can I ask you a question? Does this guy have a mask on, or is that his attempt at growing a beard? I can't tell.
I think it's his attempt at growing a beard.
It's attempt at growing a beard. Okay, very nice. It looks really good for you. Let me tell you what's going to happen to you in lockup. No, maybe we won't, right? Because we still want this to be a somewhat family-friendly show. So here's what I'm going to say, Wayne. Let's keep our fingers on the pulse. Let's follow Mr. Santos Rodriguez, 24. He's not going to make it to 25. That's just my prediction. I'm just saying. Because can I tell you something else? And this will really get me in trouble.
Go for it.
Oh, yeah. Normally, you're just like right on the ball. You said, oh, Bri, it's going to get you in trouble? Yeah, this will be good. Why don't you just mention it?
Hey,
I have to tell you.
It's no different than any other day.
No, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, right? I know of people in prison. I have personal experience of people I trusted more that were in jail or in prison. There are certain bad guys that I trusted more than these punk patrolmen that were busy trying to make sergeant in some police departments around the country, let's just say, right? There were some bad guys. They ran afoul of the law, but you could trust them. You could count on them to keep their word. Now, they had a different sense of what was right and wrong, but you could count on them to treat their word. There's some bad guys that I trust infinitely more. When we talked about earlier, Wayne, we don't paint with a very broad brush here at the Brian Brawdy Show, right? Because we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're not saying all cops are bad. I'm saying some cops. We're not saying all doctors are bad. I'm saying some doctors. We're not saying all politicians. Well, in that case, most politicians are bad, right? We're not saying all attorneys are bad, right? But some are bad. So we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're highlighting that there are some cops that were beat up in high school in the boys' bathroom for their lunch money. They were ridiculed. But then they came out, they took a civil service test, they got a gun and a badge, and they're hell-bent on violating every civil right of yours they can until they feel like they've finally paid us back for having their head dumped in a toilet so that you could get their lunch money in the boys' room when they were in high school. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And that there are some prisoners that you can count. There are some felons, some people that you ended up arresting that you can trust them more than you can trust certain police officers, right? That's all I'm saying. Like this one cop that was arrested for sexually assaulting a 3-year-old girl. Never should have been given a gun and a badge. Let's make him return the vendor. Get me my chainsaw. Make sure it's oiled up. Right? I trust the felons in lockup at, where is it, Wayne? Can you throw it up there one more time for Mr. Rodriguez? Thank you, sir. San Bernardino, West Valley Detention Center. He will, now, unless his birthday is tomorrow, he's not going to see his 25th birthday, which reminds me, Wayne, just in case, right? Because I asked, just in case, I have a little something I have to do. You ready? Let me get it. Ready?
Go.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I need another drum roll. Okay, ready to go? Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Parker. Happy birthday to you. I love you, bud. Today is the birthday of my oldest son. Yeah. Now everyone knows why I didn't take up a career in singing, but happy birthday, Parker. I hope you're having a blast. Yeah, that's right. I can't. Well, Wayne got mad at me earlier, and you'll see why here in a little bit.
I
when we're
muted
talking
you.
Something. What? You muted me. All right. Thank you, Wayne, for saving me from myself. Wayne's always like, Bri, how many times do I have to tell you not to run with scissors? How many times do I have to tell you to look both ways in traffic before you cross? So Wayne probably muted me. But if he's not going to mute the next 2 seconds. Happy birthday, Parker, just in case Wayne muted me singing to you like I said I would if you watched. All right, so now we got it. Wayne, look at me. I'm back on time, even though I'm just thrilled. With Michael's point, responsibility means the ability to respond, right? We don't look at weapons offensively. We look at them defensively. Retractable claws. You don't run around bad-mouthing your cat because it can smack the crap out of a raccoon in a fight, right? You got a yard cat, kick the living daylights out of a possum when they go, shh, right? Cat scratch fever. That's what it's all about. You don't slam your cat for weapons. You go, oh, they're retractable claws. Look how cute that kitten is. That's all I'm saying, right? Cute as a cuddly little kitten, right? But when they need the retractable claws, easy for me to say, when they need the retractable claws, they know how to bring it. All right, Wayne, 40 past. You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show, and thank you for clicking over to RadioBri.com. Clicking over to RadioBri.com, it is a thrill to have you along with us. If you're out and about, running around doing errands, if you live in one of the few states, Wayne, that isn't under lockdown, and as I said yesterday, I love this term. Oh, we're going to go on a pause, right? We're not actually going to call it a lockdown because all you Liberty nuts will be screaming. We're going to go on a pause. No, we're not. We're the politicians. We're still going to run around without a mask. We're still going to have family members over. We're still going to, right? So it's a pause for you people, the masses, not the master class, right? Because we're clearly above you. Dave Bowman says, I love cats. I can just not eat an entire one, and I cannot eat the whole thing in one sitting. Dave, I could just say it's a good thing Patricia's out of the country because I think she'd be throwing down right now. I think she'd be going, I don't care where he lives. I'm going to hunt him down. I'm going to track him down. I love cats. Here's the thing. Travel to China, as I know you have. Travel to China, you can't tell what's going to come up in they have these big lazy Susans, Wayne. Mm-hmm. When you go out in an official capacity, or you're going to an official's home in China and you're going to eat, they have these massive lazy Susans that just spin around. I've seen monkey heads, fish heads, chicken heads pop up. Now, I'm not saying this because I don't want people from China who are listening going, I can't believe you told everyone we served you a cat while you were here. I'm just saying I don't know. I didn't happen to see a cat's head in a bowl of soup with wonton noodles, right? As it was circling by. But I did see a monkey. I did see a chicken. Nothing says, oh, God, I think I'm going to have to pass when you go, oh, that bowl looks tasty. And as it gets closer, right? It gets closer. You're like, I just figured out that the easiest gig in the world is to be a butcher here in China because all they do is take their machete, chop, 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 right into the bowl. Cover it with some noodles and but I do love the egg. They make eggs. The dinners. Some of the dinners were spectacular. But I can tell you that lazy Susan spins around. You see the head of a monkey go by. You go, I'm a little fuller than I thought. I had too many hors d'oeuvres is what I think it was in the beginning. I'll let the monkey just spin on by. So I don't know, Dave. Could have been cats' heads. Could very well be. I don't know. I don't judge, right? I don't judge. If I'm gonna judge, it'll be when we get ready to do this next segment. Wayne, what do you think? Let's just go ahead and throw it in. Right, yep. Let's just open it up. We'll mention that the phones are still open. 833-MORTAL and the numeral 1. Of course, that's 833-667-8251. My apologies earlier for suggesting that in order to cook your turkey, in order to spatchcock your turkey, it meant the same thing as having spots on your private parts. I didn't know what I rarely do know what I'm saying, but my apologies. No, I don't even want to apologize for people that may have been offended because if you're offended, then just don't tune in, right? Don't listen. What do you want from me? So I don't know how much. I don't know how heartfelt that apology was. Don't forget, you can also email me directly here in the studio, brian@radiobri.com. All right, Wayne, I know. Let me get ready with the drum roll, and I know you're getting ready to drop. Is it time to drop a new graphic? Is that what we're doing, brother?
Yes, it is.
All right, so here we go. Drum roll. All right. Hey, let me say hello quickly before you do. Randy says this is a result of Biden, Soros, globalists, communist plan. All right, Randy. Well, Randy, give us a call. Why don't you, if you're able to, 833-667-8251. Or you can give us a text or even send us an email here. Oh, wait, here we go. These signs are popping up in your neighborhood. Let's see. Maybe it's time to do something about it. And what does the sign say? Oh, my governor is an idiot. All right. So we talked before about the heated debate that Wayne and I got in earlier about this because I think they're bullies in some cases. I don't necessarily look any of these governors that have figured out a way to hijack everyone's head enough that they can even dream about having a lockdown. They're not an idiot. They may be evil, but they're not an idiot. They're calculating, but they're not an idiot. They're bullies. But to be smart enough to figure out, as we know now, there's Lex and Lena, thanks to Shane. I know that it's not Lexina, it's Lena Luthor. There are a lot of Lex Luthors running around in the world. Your governor might be one of them. But let's just take some of the faces that I do recognize on here, right? Now, Wayne, I think you're going to win the argument right off the bat. Now, let's not go to Governor Newsom. That'll be too. Let's save him for a second. Let's go first to your friend and mine, Governor Cuomo. Right? Governor Cuomo threatening that the journalist, telling the journalist, "Oh, I don't care what you think," having his little media meltdown. I think Governor Cuomo, and then taking an Emmy Award, and probably, right, Wayne, they'll peel the audio. He'll win a Grammy. Right? I mean, what do you get if you play? Dave will know this. I don't know. Maybe Michael knows. What do you get if you play on Broadway, Wayne? What is that, a Tony?
I think it's Tony.
A Tony. So now you watch. Mark my words. Just like the guy that stomped on the 3-year-old's kid, I said he'll never make it till his 26th birthday. Another prediction. Governor Cuomo will win, in addition to the Emmy, in addition to the Lowlife's Making Headlines certificate that we had, suitable for framing certificate, I should say, we had sent to him. He'll have that up. He'll have the Emmy. But now they'll strip the audio, give him a Grammy. And because it was one big play, one big to-do, one big extravaganza, he's probably going to win the Tony. If the Tony is what you win for a Broadway play, he'll probably win the Tony. But what makes, when I say, and Wayne, I want your opinion on this, my governor is an idiot. I don't think Cuomo's an idiot. He figured out how to play it so you don't get to bring your, what is she, 83, 87, 90, 90, 89. He's not an idiot. He figured out how to make the rest of us feel bad for inviting our 89-year-old grandmother, right? Our 89-year-old mother. He's figured out how he can invite her for the holidays, but none of the rest of us, right? Do as I say, not as I do. Speaking of do as I say, not as I do, let's go to the left of the list. And by left, I mean left of the list. Your friend and mine, Wayne, I bet you're wondering, Brian, you got so many friends in the political realm. Your friend and mine, Governor Gavin Newsom. Governor Newsom is related to Pelosi, Michael. Well, of course. Pelosi invested in the Dominion voting machines. Michael, look, and I would love your opinion on this. Give me a text. Send me an email here in the studio. But how is anyone shocked, Wayne? You can help me with this. How is anyone shocked that there could be any question about a company that wants to stack the deck in whatever favor they think is stacking the deck in their favor? And wait for it, Wayne. You ready? I have an idea. Let's name the company Dominion. No one saw that coming? Of course, no one saw coming that a voting machine company that may or may not have put their fingers on the scales to tip an election are going to be called Dominion. And they're going to team up with a software company, I believe, called Smart Stack It. What is it, Wayne? What's the name of Smart Stack It?
I'm not sure. The funny thing is I listened to them or read the article about their response last night.
Yeah?
How it's impossible for the machines to change the votes.
So let me get this straight. So what everyone will be surprised about is a guilty person claims they're innocent.
Yes.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
And I call it, being from an IT background and a programming background,
yes, sir.
I call it bull.
Okay, great. This is a great question. So, Wayne, you call it bull that it could have been done, or you called it bull that it couldn't have been done?
It could have been done.
You say it could have been done?
Yes.
Wow, look at it. We're able to get this show on the air every day, right? It's a computer. There's software. So you're saying that it could be plausible.
Anyone can manipulate the software code to sit down and tell it to do that.
I would think, right?
Absolutely.
So now Governor Gavin Newsom out there in the great state of California, as Michael says, is related to Pelosi. Oh, I mean, like, are you certain Pelosi with the, I've got 2 Sub-Zero freezers stacked full of designer ice cream Pelosi? That governor or that Speaker of the House Pelosi? Look, if Feinstein is stepping... What?
She was an investor in Dominion.
And Dominion. And the software company Smart Stack It. I think is the name. Smart Stack It. So, right, if I were going to do a commercial, hey, you want to stack an election in your favor? Hire us here at Smart Stack It. I think that's the name of the company. I'm pretty sure. But in any event, let's get back to my governor is a bully. How about you? And I get Wayne's point. These signs are popping up we didn't make this up. These signs are popping up everywhere.
They're
and
available
probably because
online. You can buy them online.
you can buy them online. So here's the deal. They had to come up with a word that would allow a circular picture. But these guys and girls aren't idiots. Look, I don't think Governor Alyssa Milano, what's her real name? Gretchen
Whitmer.
No, not Gretchen
Jim Whitmer.
Carlson. What?
Gretchen Dim Whitmer.
Dim Whitmer. See, I like that way better. But there's no O in Dimwit-er, though, is there? Okay, so I don't think for Dimwit-er...
By the way, we got to get that dimwit section going.
Oh, yeah, I know, the dimwit dialogues. How would you like... So, in any event, you're the guy from Dominion and Smart Stack It, and you're going, we have to deny. That's how we get out in front of this. So now there are people going, well, they interviewed the guy from Dominion, and he said it's impossible. Oh, really? And you're drinking that Kool-Aid.
You got to remember, now, these same people are the same people who walked out of a meeting, who failed to show up for a meeting.
They didn't show up for a meeting. Well, you know what?
Because they had to talk to their attorneys.
Any good attorney would tell you, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Right? Any good attorney, unless you're the attorney for James Comey, as Michael says, Governor Smiley Two-Face, right? Oh, no, I wasn't in an enclosed area. Oh, I'm sorry, but we have a picture and a video of you in an enclosed area. Oh, so then he pulls a Bill Clinton. Well, it all depends on what your definition of is, right?
Yeah.
Right, Wayne? You remember that? Oh, it depends on what your definition of inside is. Right? All depends on what your definition, right? He's reading from the Teflon Willie playbook. That's all. It all depends on what in a deposition. All depends on what your definition of is. So of course nobody wants to sit down for a meeting because you don't want to out yourself. You don't want to be held on tape saying something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in any event, my governor is a B-R-U. Oh, you know what? B-R-U-T-E. Nah, they probably still couldn't have gotten a circle. A brute. My governor's a
with
bully.
The dunce cap on their heads.
Yeah, with the dunce cap on their heads. Yeah, maybe that's the way it works. But I have to tell you, I don't think it's so much that my governor is an idiot. I think it's my governor is a bully. Who I heard. Help me if I'm wrong here, Wayne.
See, my gut tells me that in some cases that may be true.
Right.
In other cases, they're too stupid to understand how to be a bully, so they're idiots.
All right, that's fair. Well, they're at least an idiot in that they got a majority of the people in their state to vote for them.
Well,
right?
We shall see. A lot of these people haven't come up for re-election yet.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's bring this list back up and see how many of them are out. Like, I have to tell you, I'm just stunned all the time whenever Hank Johnson opens his mouth, right? You remember, do you know who Hank Johnson is?
Yeah.
All right. So he's a House of Representatives member from somewhere in the South, right? And he was the guy that was grilling Army generals, chief of staff, joint chiefs, I think, right? Grilling them about putting military in Guam. And he was all ready to go. He had his facts. He had his slide rule. He was like Karl Rove with a whiteboard. He had all of his things ready to go. And he asked the general, well, wouldn't you admit that if you load all these tanks and troop carriers, the island could actually tip over? And then I thought to myself, Wayne, you have got to be kidding me. This guy thinks the island of Guam, and if you don't know, just do yourself a favor. Google Hank Johnson / island of Guam, and you'll see. It wasn't a Saturday Night Live skit, right, Wayne?
No, he was serious.
He wasn't trying to be funny. He was serious. Well, guess what? You asshats elected him. So if you live in a state and that state has a governor that's an idiot, realize that half of the people, at least, if not half, then a percentage of the people that lived in your state, who's more of an idiot? The idiot that wants to be a public servant at the state level, one step away from being president, right? Or now, Gavin Newsom, and Michael, you have to let me know about this. Michael says, truth is treason in the empire of lies. Absolutely. So, hey, Michael, is there any truth? If I could get you to comment. Now I'm hearing that Gavin Newsom might appoint himself as a senator to fill Kamala, and I don't even know, Wayne, is Kamala Harris left? Has she surrendered her Senate seat yet in California now that she's alleged to be the vice president-elect,
Nope.
right? You never know till it's all over, right? But she was a senator.
She's still a senator.
She's still a senator. So when she gets ready to pop smoke, when she gets ready to bail to move to the East Coast in the White House, or next door to the White House, the vice presidential quarters, when she gets ready to move, Gavin Newsom is considering appointing himself to be senator. Oh, no, there's no skipping stone.
That's one of the rumors out there.
One of the rumors. All right, so who's the idiot? The person that goes, oh, wow, I've crafted this perfectly. I'll marry, what's her name from Fox and Friends? Used to be Fox and Friends. Now she's dating Trump Jr. Dark hair.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I forget. In any event, so what I'll do is I'll get married to her. Then once we're divorced, I'll become governor, right? Then governor, I'll go ahead and fill the Senate seat. Oh, and I care so much for the people of California. It just had to be me. I knew what it would take to be senator for California. So then from there, David Bowman says she is senator until the new Congress convenes. Oh, so is that how it works, David? You can't resign as a senator and have that seat open. Oh, look, David says, and yes, it's widely expected that Newsom will appoint himself as senator.
Well, but he can appoint himself. He can appoint himself as senator, but her term is up in 2022.
Yeah.
So he'll only go through to 2022 before he has to be elected to the office.
And fundraise every minute of the day, right? Because he's a public servant, Wayne. He's doing it for our good. So now, who's the idiot? This guy has figured out how to, right? I cannot remember her name. In any event, then he becomes governor. Then he appoints himself as senator. Then uses that to guarantee his shot, or at least guarantee his run at the White House. Who's the idiot? The people that put him in place in the first place.
I don't think it'll be a guarantee. An awful lot of people in California, even liberals and progressives, are getting pretty tired of this guy.
I'm with you. David makes a good point. She could resign, but why give up the paycheck? Right? She probably has like double security details now, right? Not only the paycheck, she's got state police, Gardner, Secret Service, Gardner, all the rest of it. David, good point. Why give up the scratch? Absolutely agreed. So that's my contention, Wayne, in looking through all of this, is that some of these guys, they're bamboozlers, right? They figured out how to work the system and call that system, public service. I'm in it. I'm a public servant, Wayne. I do it for the public. I do it for the people of the great state of California because I'm in it for them. For them, Wayne. That's my sole focus every day. Forget about going and having a $350 a plate dinner without a mask inside with all the medical community that contributes to my campaign. I do it. I needed to have dinner so that, right, I needed to have $300 roast duckling with some avocado spice spread so that I could be of sound mind in the morning, because the moment the alarm clock goes off, I hit the ground running, trying to be the best governor I can be. So, damn it, I deserve that dinner, right? You can't, Wayne, look, you know full well, you can't, right? What is that commercial? Here, have a Snickers. You're not yourself when you're hungry. I needed to have a good dinner so that I could get up bright and early and fend for the people of the great state of California, right? I can see it. It could happen. All right. Well, Wayne, let's do this. Let's run quickly to the final Mortal Up minute, and then we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to everybody and try to get out of here. Thank you all so very much. This Mortal Up, I love this one. I enjoyed writing it. Wayne? Concerned about cybersecurity? Most of us are. You do what you can to protect your computers from cyber attacks or cyberbullying at the shady hands of clandestine cyber terrorists. Your smartphone and connected utilities, laptop or tablet, of course you want to guard against being hacked, your identity stolen by some nefarious internet actor, infiltrating your most private technologies. Yet when it comes to guarding and protecting our own minds from being hacked, compromised, and derailed by evil outside forces, Many turn a blind eye and a deaf ear, way too vulnerable and exposed to criticism and influence. The most extraordinary computer network known to humankind, barely a speed bump on the information superhighway crafting your self-image. Don't be victimized by the cyber crooks trying to crack your cognition and your self-esteem. I'm Brian Brawdy, reminding you to mortal up. And I don't think we can leave on a better note, Wayne. Don't let them crack your cognition and your own reflection with the mirror. Don't buy in. As Michael said, hey, they're going to try to weaponize. The media is going to try to weaponize words against you to believe. Like I said last week, Wayne, do you find it at all odd? Scratch your head, drop the mic. I just can't put a finger on it. But the same people that day in and day out tell you you need a crutch are the same people getting ready to sell you the crutch?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get ready to run. Let's thank you so much for listening. Whether you're listening on YouTube, here on Facebook, or you're catching either live at Brawdy.com, radiobride.com is the short little the hieroglyphics of it, or you're listening on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or iTunes. Thank you so very much for joining us for episode 546 of the Brian Brawdy Show. Remember, thou art that. When you can't call on anyone else for anything, when you can't call on anyone else, can you call on yourself? All right, Wayne, thank you so much as always. Like to leave every show thanking Wayne for everything he does to get and keep us up and running. Wayne, thank you so very much. We are out.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up.